we are introducing Travel Industry Essentials, e-learning module. This module is designed for travel consultants, who have started or willing to start their career in travel industry.
Let's discuss the importance of phonetic alphabets in travel industry. The phonetic alphabet is used in aviation industry when communicating orally. By using a word instead of a letter, no mistakes can be made. It is most commonly used by pilots, air traffic control, tour operators and travel agents. Everyone working in aviation industry needs to know the phonetic alphabets. For example, every aircraft in the world has a tail number, like N711BK. When you are speaking with air traffic control or ground control, the plane would be identified as November 711 Bravo Kilo. This ensures that the correct letters are being used, because some letters, like M and N, B and D, sound very familiar, which could cause problems. So ICAO phonetic alphabets on your next screen. A for Alpha, B for Bravo, C for Charlie, D for Delta, E for Echo, F for Foxtrot, G for Golf, H for Hotel, I for India, J for Juliet, K for Kilo, L for Lima, M for Mike, N for November, O for Oscar, P for Papa, Q for Quebec, R for Romeo, S for Sierra, T for Tango, U for Uniform, V for Victor, W for Whiskey, X for X-ray, Y for Yankee, Z for Zulu. The International Civil Aviation Organization, ICAO, is UN specialized agency created in 1944 upon the signing of the Convention on International Civil Aviation, also known as Chicago Convention. ICAO came into being on April 4, 1947. In October of the same year, ICAO became a specialized agency of the United Nations, linked to Economic and Social Council, ECOSOC. The Convention on International Civil Aviation set forth the purpose of ICAO. Whereas the future development of international civil aviation can greatly help to create and preserve friendship and understanding among the nations and peoples of the world, yet its abuse can become a threat to the general security. And whereas it is desirable to avoid friction, and to promote that cooperation between nations and peoples upon which the peace of the world depends. Therefore, the undersigned governments having agreed on certain principles and arrangements, in order that international civil aviation may be developed in a safe and orderly manner and that international air transport services may be established on the basis of equality of opportunity, and operated soundly and economically. Let's discuss Montreal Convention. Montreal Convention 1999, known as MC99, is a modernization and unification of the different treaty regimes covering airline liability that have developed haphazardly since 1929. The global ratification of MC99 is an industry priority. MC99 gives consumers better protection and compensation, and facilitates faster air cargo shipments, while airlines enjoy greater certainty about the rules affecting their liability. It also establishes the legal framework that allows airlines to make use of electronic documentation for shipments, thereby reducing costs and increasing efficiency. Let's discuss importance of Chicago Convention in aviation industry, adopted in 1944. This treaty established the rights of signatory states over their territorial airspace, and laid down the basic principles relating to international transport of dangerous goods by air. Let's discuss the purpose of Chicago Convention. It provided two basic freedoms. First, the freedom to fly over another country without landing. Second, the freedom to stop for fuel and repairs in a country without taking on, or leaving cargo or passenger. The terms of this treaty are amplified in the International Civil Aviation Organization regulations. Let's discuss the freedom of air passage. Traditionally, an airline needs the approval of the governments of the various countries involved before it can fly in, or out of a country, or even fly over another country without landing. In 1944, an international convention was held in Chicago to establish the framework for all future bilateral and multilateral agreements for the use of international airspaces. 5 freedom rights were designed, but a multilateral agreement went only as far as the first 2 freedoms, like right to overfly and right to make a technical stop. The first 5 freedoms are regularly exchanged between pairs of countries in air service agreements. The remaining freedoms are becoming more important, however. Freedoms are not automatically granted to an airline as a right. They are privileges that have to be negotiated and can be the object of political pressures. All other freedoms have to be negotiated by bilateral agreements, such as the 1946 agreement between the United States and the UK, which permitted limited fifth freedom rights. The 1944 convention has been extended since then, and there are currently 9 different freedoms. Let's describe the first freedom of air passage. The freedom to overfly a foreign country, A, from a home country en route to another country, B, without landing. Also called the transit freedom. With the end of the Cold War, the first freedom is widely available across the world. For example, Saudi Arabian Airlines fly over Bahrain and land in Doha. Let's describe the second freedom of air passage. The freedom to stop in the foreign country for technical or refueling purpose only. A flight from a home country can land in another country, A, for purposes other than carrying passengers, such as refueling, maintenance or emergencies. The final destination is country, B. For example, Qantas Air fly from Sydney and land in Dubai for refueling purpose, and final destination is London for commercial purpose. Let's describe the third freedom of air passage. The freedom to carry traffic from a home country to another country, A, for purpose of commercial services. For example, Saudi Arabian Airlines land in Karachi for commercial purpose. Let's describe the fourth freedom of air passage. The freedom to pick up traffic from another country, A, to a home country for purpose of commercial services. For example, Saudi Arabian Airlines pick up traffic from Karachi and back to Saudi Arabia. Let's describe the fifth freedom of air passage. The freedom to carry traffic between 2 foreign countries on a flight that either originated in or is destined for the carrier's home country. It enables airlines to carry passengers from a home country to another intermediate country, A, and then fly on to third country, B, with the right to pick passengers in the intermediate country. Also referred to as beyond right. This freedom is divided into 2 categories. Intermediate fifth freedom type is the right to carry from the third country to second country. Beyond fifth freedom type is the right to carry from second country to the third country. For example, Lufthansa lands in Dubai for commercial purposes and then fly to Sydney For commercial purposes, let's describe the sixth freedom of air passage. The unofficial freedom to carry traffic between two foreign countries via the carrier's home country by combining third and fourth freedoms. Not formally part of the original 1944 convention. It refers to the right to carry passengers between two countries, A and B, through an airport in the home country. With the hub function of most air transport networks, this freedom has become more common, notably in Europe, like London, Amsterdam, and the Middle East, like Dubai. Let's describe the seventh freedom of air passage. The freedom to base aircraft in a foreign country for use on international services, establishing a de facto foreign hub. Covers the right to operate a passenger services between two countries, A and B, outside the home country. For example, any Italian company operates between Kuala Lumpur and Jakarta for commercial purposes. Let's describe the eighth freedom of air passage. The freedom to carry traffic between two domestic points in a foreign country on a flight that either originated in or is destined for the carrier's home country. Also referred to as cabotage privileges. It involves the right to move passengers on a route from a home country to a destination country, A, that uses more than one stop along which passengers may be loaded and unloaded. For example, any Canadian company commercially operates between Chicago and New York City. Let's describe the ninth and last freedom of air passage. The freedom to carry traffic between two domestic points in a foreign country. Also referred to as full cabotage or open skies privileges. It involves the right of a home country to move passengers within another country, A. For example, any Italian company has right to operate in China between Beijing and Shanghai. Let's discuss IATA. IATA is the short form of International Air Transport Association. The air transport industry's link with governments and the public, as well as being the airline's representative in international organizations. The main aim of IATA is to promote safe, regular, and economical air transport worldwide for the benefit of everyone. Most of the world's major scheduled airlines, over 200, in some 120 countries, are members of this association. In addition, there are many scheduled airlines, which, although not members of IATA, still adopt the same standards and procedures as the IATA Airlines. IATA provides the machinery for member airlines to collaborate and cooperate on all aspects of air transportation, technical, legal, financial, etc., despite the differences in languages, currencies, laws and measurements. For the public, one result of this airline cooperation is that an individual passenger can arrange to travel through many countries, using the services of several air carriers with payment for the complete journey in a single currency. To ensure quick and efficient communication, especially for reservations purposes, there are agreed procedures and codes that you will learn in this e-learning course. Here describes IATA area definitions. A sound knowledge of geography is an essential requirement in the travel industry, especially the ability to find countries and cities quickly on a map. In addition, you will find that many rules and regulations apply to specified geographical areas. All these areas are clearly defined by IATA. Look at the map. You will see that IATA divides the world into three areas known as traffic conference areas, which are represented with TC1, TC2, and TC3. Let's describe IATA Area 1 or TC1. Area 1 is also known as Western Hemisphere, which represented with WH. TC1 comprises of North America, South America, Central America and the adjacent islands, like Greenland, Bermuda, West Indies, islands of the Caribbean Sea, Hawaiian Islands, which includes Midway and Palmyra. Here are the details for sub-areas for TC1. North Atlantic comprises of Canada, Greenland, USA and Mexico, excluding Alaska, Hawaii, Puerto Rico and U.S. Virgin Island. Mid-Atlantic, including the Caribbean islands, Panama Canal Zone, Central America, South America except Argentina, Brazil, Chile, Paraguay and Uruguay. South Atlantic, including the Argentina, Brazil, Chile, Paraguay and Uruguay. Let's describe IATA Area 2 or TC2. IATA Area 2 or Traffic Conference Area 2 comprises of Europe, countries of Middle East, Africa and Ascension Island and parts of Asia. West of Ural Mountains, including Iran, Ural Mountain of Russia, and Tehran in Middle East divides. TC2 with TC3. In other words, TC2 comprises as Europe, Middle East, Africa. Let's describe IATA Area 3 or TC3. IATA Area 3 or Traffic Conference Area 3 comprises Asia, east of the Urals, Oceania, Australia, New Zealand and South Pacific Islands. In other words, IATA Area 3 comprises as Southeast Asia, South Asian subcontinent, Japan, Korea, known as JACOR, Southwest Pacific. Let's describe Billing and Settlement Plan. Billing and Settlement Plan is also known as Bank Settlement Plan. Is an electronic billing system designed to facilitate the flow of data and funds between travel agencies and airlines. The advantage of such an intermediary organization is that instead of each travel agency having an individual relationship with each airline, all of the information is consolidated through the BSP. BSPs are organized on a local basis, usually one per country. However, there are some BSPs which cover more than one country, for example the BSP Gulf. Travel agents are usually required to be accredited by either Airlines Reporting Corporation, ARC, when they are located in the U.S., or BSP outside of the U.S., in order to issue airline reservations through GDS. A truly worldwide system. At the close of 2013, there were 88 BSPs, covering 179 countries and territories serving about 400 airlines. Here are the IATA Global Indicators. Fares vary not only by class of service or fare type, but also by routing type, as represented by global indicators. There are so many global indicators. Main R, Western Hemisphere, and represented with WH. When travel is wholly within TC1. For example, New York to Rio de Janeiro. Eastern Hemisphere, and represented with EH. When travel is wholly within TC2 and TC3, or Eastern Hemisphere. For example, Jeddah to Paris. Atlantic, and represented with AT. When travel is between TC1 and TC2 or TC3, via Atlantic Ocean. For example, Jeddah to London and then New York. Pacific and represented with PA. When travel is between TC1 and TC2 or TC3, via Pacific Ocean. For example, Jeddah to Singapore and then to Los Angeles. Trans-Siberia, and represented with TS. When travel is between TC2 and TC3, with a single flight coupon on non-stop services between Europe and Japan, Korea. For example, London to Tokyo. Let's discuss importance of Warsaw Convention. International Civil Aviation Agreement is that establishes the legal framework for carriage of passengers, luggage, or baggage, and goods, or cargo. It covers conditions of carriage that define liability of the carrier in case of loss, damage, injury or death due to accident on international flights, and spell out procedures for claims and restitution, lays down out the requirements for format and content of air transport documents, like passenger tickets, luggage tickets, air consignment notes, etc. Signed in 1929 in Warsaw, Poland, by 31 states. It has evolved into one of the most important instruments of private international law adhered to by 105 signatory nations. Over the years, several amending protocols, supplementary instruments, rules, and regulations have been added which, together with the original conventions, are called the Warsaw System. Let's discuss the IATA Standard Codes for aviation industry. The air transport industry uses various codes, such as those for cities, airport, and airlines. Agents use computer system called GDSs, Global Distribution Systems, to check the flight information such schedule and seat availability, and to make reservation for passenger. A travel agent will create passenger reservation, which is known as passenger name record. The PNR information is transmitted directly to the booked carriers. IATA standard codes are to facilitate air travel. They are typically 1, 2, 3, or 4-character combinations that uniquely identify locations, equipment, companies, and times, to standardize international flight operations. All codes within each group follow a pattern, same number of characters, and using either all letters, or letter or digit combinations, to reduce the potential for error. For example, covering long distances with planes from various airlines is easy. But usually finding the right fare is really a mess. The first obstacle you have to overcome is to find the name of the cities in their representation, as flight reservation systems know them, 3-letter code, cities or airports code represented with 3 letters. Following are the common cities codes in the world. Let's discuss IATA airline designators. Sometimes called IATA reservation codes, are 2-character codes, assigned by the International Air Transport Association to the world's airlines. The codes issued to date comply with IATA Resolution 762, which provides for only 2 characters. These codes thus comply with the current airline designator standard, but use only a limited subset of its possible range. The IATA codes originally based on the ICAO designators which were issued in 1947, as 2-letter airline identification codes. IATA airline designators are used to identify an airline for commercial purposes in reservations, timetables, tickets, tariffs, airway bills and in telecommunications. IATA also issues an accounting, or prefix code. This number is used on tickets as the first 3 characters of the ticket number. Following are the commonly used airline designators from MENA region. Let's describe country codes. The country code is 2 letters, as per ISO standard. Here are some of the country's codes, for your knowledge. Here is explanation for air travel in details. Over the past few years, the ways of doing business with the airlines have radically changed. Travel agency commissions have been eliminated. Ticketless air travel through the use of electronic tickets has replaced the use of paper tickets. Airlines have installed websites enabling travelers to book directly with the airline and bypass the travel agent. However, studies have proven that cost savings opportunities on the web are very limited, and the majority of web fares found are not lower than those available through the global distribution system. In order for you to be proficient at providing air transportation for your clients, you need to understand how the air travel system works. You need to know how flights are routed, the different types of fares, and classes of service and types of air trips available. You must understand air travel terminology and learn airline codes. Fortunately, the GDS you will be using handles much of the routing and fare construction automatically. However, you need to know the basics of air transportation. That is the purpose of this e-learning course. Let's discuss the journey. The approach to pricing an international journey is influenced largely by the type of journey traveled and its anatomy. In other words, it is first necessary to identify the journey type, then analyze its anatomy, and then match it with correct fare construction formula. Every journey has its own anatomy. The anatomy of a journey will determine the types of air that can apply. For example, the journey originates from Jeddah to Dubai by Saudi Arabian Airlines and stop off at Dubai. Then fly from Dubai to Frankfurt by Lufthansa and transit at Frankfurt. Then fly from Frankfurt to final destination London by British Airways. Here is explanation of given example journey anatomy. As per the example, journey is the complete itinerary. Here is Jeddah to Dubai. To Frankfurt and London is journey. Country of commence of travel, COC. It is the country from which international travel first take place. Here Saudi Arabia is the country of commence of travel, originate country. Origin. The initial starting point in the journey is shown on the ticket. Here Jeddah is an origin. Destination. The ultimate, or final stopping place of the journey is shown on the ticket. Here London is the destination. Sector or segment. A portion of the journey comprised of legs, or flight segments presenting a pair of a journey between boarding and disembarkation points. Here Jeddah to Dubai. Segment 1. Dubai to Frankfurt. Segment 2. Frankfurt to London. Segment 3. Fare construction point, FCP. It is first and last point of fare component. Here Jeddah to London is fare construction point. Fare breakpoint, FBP. It is the point where the journey is broken in order to price a fare component. Here is London its fare breakpoint, intermediate point or transfer point. A transfer point, any intermediate point within fare component that may be considered a stopover or no stopover point. Here, Dubai and Frankfurt are two intermediate or transfer points, travel from Jeddah to London. Intermediate. No stopover point. This semi-intermediate transfer point between the fare construction points, where passenger makes a flight connection and spends less than 24 hours. Indicate with X on the ticket. Here, Frankfurt is intermediate and no stopover point in the journey. Intermediate stopover point. This semi-intermediate transfer point, between the fare construction points, where passenger makes a flight connection and spends more than 24 hours. Exception. For travel wholly within Central America, an intermediate stopover point is for stops more than 6 hours. Here, Dubai is the intermediate stopover point. Let's discuss journey types. There are essentially two main categories of journeys: one-way journey, return journey. There are three different types of journeys that return to the country of origin: round trip, circle trip, open jaw. Here is explanation for one-way journey type. For international journeys, a one-way journey is priced from the point of origin to point of destination using one-way fares. For example, one-way first-class fare between Jeddah to London is in Saudi Riyals, 28,400. Here is explanation for round-trip journey type. For international journeys, a round trip is travel from a point of origin to point of turnaround, and back to point of origin. The outbound leg of journey traveled in one direction, while the inbound leg is traveled in the opposite, or reverse direction. For example, outbound journey. Half round-trip fare from Jeddah to London in first class is in Saudi Riyals, 17,400. And inbound journey. Half round-trip fare London Jeddah in first class is in Saudi Riyals, 17,400. As per fare construction procedures, half round-trip Jeddah to London. Class of services may be in different classes, also possible if combinations allowed by fare type used. Here is explanation for circle trip journey type. A circle trip involves travel from a point of origin and return to the same point via continuous and circuitous air route. For example, outbound journey half round trip. Business class fare from Jeddah to Kuala Lumpur is in Saudi Riyals, 11,590. Inbound from Kuala Lumpur to Jeddah is not the same direction as inbound. It makes stopover or transit at Singapore and Colombo and back to origin Jeddah. So, inbound half round-trip business class fare is in Saudi Riyals, 12,500. Maybe surcharges or higher intermediate fare applies. Here is explanation for open jaw journey type. In open jaw journeys, travel is from one country and return to same country. However, unlike round trips and circle trips, the journey is interrupted by break in the air journey, called a surface sector. The break is caused by passenger who wish to travel by another means between two points in the journey, such as traveling by train, car, bus, etc. For example, outbound journey origin from Jeddah to Kuala Lumpur, and international service between Kuala Lumpur and Singapore. Not traveling by air. Then inbound journey from Singapore and back to origin Jeddah. Another example, outbound journey origin from Jeddah to Kuala Lumpur, and inbound journey from Kuala Lumpur to Riyadh instead of Jeddah. Country of origin is the same, but city or airport is not as per outbound journey. Here is explanation for airfare selection. More than one fare is published between any city pair. The travel professional must be skilled in selecting the correct fare for a journey. In addition to identify the correct global indicator and journey type, there are other factors to consider when selecting fares. These factors include the fare type, predominant carrier and conditions that govern the fare. Here normal versus special fare types. Explanation. International long-haul flights such as Jeddah to Sydney or Jeddah to Chicago tend to have a three-class configuration: a first-class cabin, F; a business-class cabin, C; an economy-class cabin, Y. There are principally two types of fares that can exist for travel in any class: normal fares, special fares. In general, normal fares offer greater flexibility to the passenger. These fares can be purchased at any time, allow passenger to make changes without paying a penalty, and they are refundable when they are not used. These are particularly suited to corporate travelers who often travel on short notice and may need to change travel plans at any time. However, normal fares are the most expensive. Special or promotional fares are considerably lower than normal fares for the same route. As a result, they are more restrictive. They may carry a penalty fee for changes to reservations, and they offer limited or no refund if never used. Here discussion for unrestricted and restricted normal fares. Let's discuss first unrestricted normal fares. Unrestricted normal fares are called primary fares. Primary fares, in general, permit unlimited stopover and transfers, as long as the total mileage flown for the routing does not exceed the maximum permitted mileage for the city pair. Normal fares are generally represented in a fare display by one letter and represented by F, C, and Y. These may also appear in fare tables as F1, C1, and Y1. Now discuss restricted normal fares. Although normal fares tend to be flexible and unrestrictive, there is a category of normal fares called secondary fares that may impose restriction on stopover and transfers, season or day of week traveled, flights or airline used. These will be identified by fare type F2, C2 and Y2. Because secondary fares have some restrictions, they are lower than primary fares. These secondary codes may be published with seasonal variations, such as H for high season and L for low season. Some will apply for travel on certain days of the week, such as X for weekdays and W for weekends. Most will not allow a stopover at an intermediate point. Let's describe the special or promotional fares. Special fares are low promotional fares that have more fences or restrictions than the normal type. Such restrictions are mostly in respect of length of stay, such as minimum and maximum stay requirements, advance purchase requirements, reservations, payment and ticketing limits, day or time of travel, eligibility restrictions, refundability and changeability. Special fares may be published as a fixed amount. Here discussion for types of special fares. Special fares are divided into 5 categories. Let's describe first category of special fares as the public special fares. Public special fares are divided into 4 subcategories: late booking fare, advance purchase excursion fare or apex fare, public excursion fare, special airline fare, or PEX fare. Excursion fare. Let's describe second category of special fares as inclusive tour fares. Inclusive tour fares are divided into 2 subcategories: group inclusive tour fares, individual inclusive tour fares. Let's describe third category of special fares as public group fares. The public group fares divided into 4 subcategories: common interest group fares, incentive group fares, non-affinity group fares, affinity group fare. The fourth category of special fares as reduced fares for specific categories persons. The fifth category of special fares, miscellaneous fares. Let's discuss fare codes. Here explanation for class codes. The first position of the fare class or type codes is a letter, which designates the class of service. This part of the code is used alone, or with a seasonal or numeric digit for normal fares, and in combination with other designators for other fares. The class designators are as follows. First cabin classes are P for first class premium, F for first class, A for first class discounted. Business cabin class are J for business class premium, C for business class, D for business class discounted, I for business class discounted, Z for business class discounted. Economy or coach cabin classes are W for economy or coach premium, S for economy or coach, Y for economy or coach, B for economy or coach discounted, H for economy or coach discounted, K for economy or coach discounted, L for economy or coach discounted, M for economy or coach discounted, N for economy or coach discounted, Q for economy or coach discounted, T for economy or coach discounted, V for economy or coach discounted, X for economy or coach discounted. Let's describe season codes. The season designators, if applicable, follow the class designator and are as follows. H for highest level of a fare having more than one seasonal level, K for second level of a fare having more than 2 seasonal levels, J for third level of fare having more than 3 seasonal levels, F for fourth level of fare having more than 4 seasonal levels, T for fifth level of fare having more than 5 seasonal levels, Q for sixth level of fare having more than 6 seasonal levels, Y for seventh level of fare having more than 7 seasonal levels, L for lowest level of fare having more than 1 seasonal level. The following seasonal codes and names apply to industry fares having 2 to 8 seasonal levels. H for peak, K for shoulder 1, J for shoulder 2, F for shoulder 3, T for shoulder 4, Q for basic high, Y for basic middle, L for basic. Let's describe speakport codes. W for weekend, applicable for fares established for weekend travel. X for weekday, applicable for fares established for weekday travel. Let's describe part of day code. N for night, here explanation for fare and passenger type codes. AP for advance purchase fare. BT for bulk inclusive tour or operator package. CD for senior citizen. CH4. Child. DL4. Labor. DT4. Teacher. E4. Excursion. EX4. Extra seat for passenger comfort. GV4. Group inclusive tour. ID4. Air industry employee. MZ4. Military, category Z. OJ4. Open jaw. OW4. One-way, single. OX4. Excursion one-way fare. RT4. Round trip. Here is NUC conversion procedure. In fare construction, sometime necessary to add or compare fares. This process cannot be done by using different currencies. For example, Taipei, Taiwan to Karachi, Pakistan fare. Plus Karachi, Pakistan to Bangkok, Thailand fare. If the fare out of Taipei, Taiwan is in Taiwan dollar, and the fare out of Karachi, Pakistan is in Pakistani rupee, it would not possible to add the two fares together. For this purpose, a standard unit of fares has been derived from each of the local currencies. This is called neutral unit of construction or NUC. To facilitate easier fare construction, fares are published in local currency and the equivalent to NUC. At the outset, all fares construction is done in NUC. But at the end of the formula the total sum in NUC must be converted into local currency. At the NUC conversion factor of the country of commencement of travel. This factor is better known as the IATA rate of exchange. Let's explain IATA rate of exchange. IATA rate of exchange is established by the IATA clearinghouse on a 5-day average, ending on the 15th of each month. It changes 4 times a year and remains frozen for 3-month periods, unless there is major variation in currency value by more than 60% in the intervening period. If this happens, the effectiveness date of IROE changes will take effect the first of the month after the establishment of the new IROE. Therefore, it is most important to check the IROE in each new edition of the tariff books. It also known as rate of exchange, or OE. The IROE can be used in 2 ways. First option, to convert local currency fare, LCF, into neutral unit of construction, NUC, use division method. For example, Frankfurt to London in Y class and fare in Euro 929. IROE amount is 0.735385, based on COC, Germany. Formula to convert into NUC as local currency fare amount. Divide by IATA rate of exchange amount. Here 929 divide by 0.735383, which is equivalent to 1263.28 NUC. Second option, to convert the neutral unit of construction NUC into local currency fare, LCF, use multiplication method. For example, NUC convert into Saudi Riyals. Jeddah to London, Y class, 2047.15 NUC. IROE is 3.750580, based on COC, Saudi Arabia. Formula to convert into local currency fare as neutral unit of construction amount. Multiply by IATA rate of exchange amount. Here 2047.15 NUC multiply by rate of exchange amount. 3.750580. Which is equivalent to 7,677.99 Saudi Riyals. As per above example, local currency is not rounded off. Each local currency has its own rounding unit. As per Saudi Arabia market, it's rounded off to next 1.00 Saudi Riyal. The local currency for above example is 7,678.00 Saudi Riyals. Here is maximum permitted mileages details. Maximum permitted mileage, MPM. This is the maximum mileage allowable between the point of departure and point of turnaround. MPMs are always one way. If you are calculating a round trip, the mileage is calculated from point of departure to breakpoint and then from breakpoint back to origin. When calculating a fare for an itinerary with stopovers, the city with the highest MPM will usually be considered the breakpoint. The mileage method is the most common principle used in international fare construction. Essentially what this means is that passengers are given a certain number of miles to travel between one point and another. By assigning an amount of mileage, rather than a routing, it allows airlines that do not fly directly into a city to still service it. For example, Saudi Arabian Airlines does not fly directly from Hale to Toronto. So, the mileage system will allow the airline to fly from Hale to Riyadh, then to Toronto and still meet the mileage requirement. The system allows the use of through fares, using global indicators, at a maximum mileage amount. Stopovers will be permitted in connection with published fares under the following conditions. They must be arranged in advance and specified on the ticket. They may be permitted at any point on the itinerary constructed by the use of the mileage system, and for published routings, unless such a stopover is prohibited by the rule governing the applicable fare. There are a variety of regular first class and economy fares, with differing stopover provisions, requiring that the selling agent check with the airline involved determining the appropriate stopover allowance. Let's describe ticket point mileage. Ticket point mileage, TPM, is used to determine if the itinerary your client is traveling on falls within the MPM. To complete this calculation, you must determine the mileage of all sectors, including surface sectors and connections. As MPMs are one way, this calculation must be completed in both directions. Let's describe calculating TPMs. All sectors including surface sectors and connections must be included in a TPM calculation. MPMs are directional, so you must remember to calculate each direction of the journey separately. Let's describe mileage fares and surcharges. On occasion, the flight routings used will exceed the maximum permitted mileage. When this occurs, the airline will charge a surcharge to the fare. These surcharges are a minimum of 5% up to a maximum of 25%. An example of a surcharged routing is below. TPM from Toronto to Frankfurt is $39.39. TPM from Frankfurt to Rome is $598. TPM from Rome to Madrid is $836. Total TPM for routing is $53.73. To calculate the amount of surcharge, you must divide the sum of the ticket point mileage, TPM, by the maximum permitted mileage, MPM. Here TPM is $53.73, and divide by MPM $47.28 and result is 1.136421. If the result is surcharge fare by over 1.00 to 1.05, then surcharge is 5%. 1.06 to 1.10, then surcharge is 10%. 1.11 to 1.15, then surcharge is 15%. 1.16 to 1.20 then, surcharge is 20%. 1.21 to 1.25 then, surcharge is 25%. 1.26 and above then, lowest combinations rules applies. This itinerary exceeds the maximum permitted mileage by 15%. Let's discuss building the PNR. The Passenger Name Record, or PNR, is simply a reservation created with an airline, hotel, and car rental company. The PNR is a record of the transactions booked for a particular traveler. Every PNR has 5 mandatory parts. P for phone number of the traveler. R for received, person providing information for the reservation. I for itinerary, travel segments booked, air, car, hotel, etc. N for name of traveler. T for ticketing, date to be ticketed. In addition, there are a number of optional parts that may be included in the PNR, such as messages or memos related to the PNR, frequent flyer numbers, ticketing instructions, credit card numbers, etc. Let's review travel jargons and ticketing abbreviation. Amendment means changes to your booking. Backtracking means you cannot go back from whence you came. Cancellation means penalties involved if you cancel your ticket. Carrier means refers to the name of the airline you are traveling on. Changes penalties means penalties involved if you change your ticket. Child fare means age range from 2 to 11 years old but not celebrated 12th birthday. Class means letter used to book your flight reservation. Code share means a flight operated by another airline. Combination means permitted add-on fares allowed to be used with the fare you are on. Conditions means rules pertaining to this airfare. Destination means the final stopping place before turning around to come home. DEP means departure. ETA means estimated time of arrival. ETD means estimated time of departure. XJED means departure from Jeddah. Fare basis means the name or code of the fare type you are traveling on. Fares means the cost of the airfare. FOP means form of payment. GV10 means minimum of 10 passengers to travel together. Must depart and return together. Inbound means return sector. Infant means child up to 23 months at time of the flight departure. Interline transfer means transfer from one airline to a different airline. Long haul means an overseas flight of some distance. Sydney-London. Mileage means the amount of miles permitted to be flown on an airfare. Minimum stay or maximum stay means the shortest and longest times you can stay at your destination. MPM means maximum permitted mileage, the maximum distance you can fly in air miles. NA means non-admissible. Nominated carrier means the airline you can fly. Non-ender or non-endorsable means no changing of airlines or carriers. Non-refund or non-refundable means no refund value. Non-rerouted or non-reroutable means no changing of destinations. No-show passenger means no show on departure date. Open-dated means no return date set. Open jaw means fly into one city and out of another city. Origin means point you start from. Outbound means outgoing sector or flight from Jeddah or point of origin. OW means one-way journey. PAX means passenger. PNR means passenger name record, used for computer reservations or booking reference number. Reissue means changes requiring a new ticket to be issued. Rerouting means changes to flight routing. RT fares means return journey fares. Season means different times of the year for travel have different fares. Side trip means return trip from a city on your journey. For example, Sydney to Bangkok to Phuket to Bangkok to London. Bangkok to Phuket is the side trip. Stopover means when you leave the airport for more than 24 hours or break journey in that city or airport. STPC means airlines provide one-night stay of accommodation for flight with no immediate connection within 8 hours to your final destination. On request basis only to advise airline upon initial booking. Surcharges means extra costs involved. Service sector means you make your own way between 2 points. TCP means traveling together. Transit means stopover and change plane. TTL means ticketing time limit, ticketing deadline. Turnaround point means the furthest point on your return journey. Validity means how long a ticket is valid. The minimum and maximum times you can be away. VV means vice versa. Waitlist means the flight is full, you are waiting for a cancellation to be confirmed.
Here is Travel Industry Essentials quiz for student evaluation. Minimum 70% score required to qualify for classroom training registration.
Question number 1. How to communicate PNR YXBCAD with airline reservation staff. Question number 2. What does IATA stand for? Question number 3. What does ICAO stand for? Question number 4. How many air passage freedoms are there? Question number 5. What does BSP stand for? Question number 6. How many IATA areas are there? Question number 7. What does DC mean in IATA? Question number 8. What are the countries in IATA Area 2 or DC2? Question number 9. What is the global indicator if journey originate from Jeddah and end in London? Question number 10. How many letters for city or airport code? Question number 11. What is 3 letters code for London in UK? Question number 12. What is 2 letters code for Egypt Air? Question number 13. What type of journey if journey origin from Jeddah and destination is Singapore and back to Jeddah? Question number 14. What is stopover? Question number 15. What is the age limits for child passenger? Question number 16. What does NUC stand for? Question number 17. What does ROE mean in fare calculation? Question number 18. What does PNR stand for?